I am the internet, and I like it when KSSU is on me.
Matt and Tex Show.
Matt getting our music ready, just giving you a little preview of what's
Giving you a little
up.
preview, yeah, a little drum fill thing going. This is Matt and Tex Show. I am Matt.
I am Tex.
And we do this every week. For those of you who are new to the show, we're nerds. We talk about movies, TV show, video games, technology, all the above.
Matt's got his Google shirt on.
I got my Google shirt on, brought to you by Tex, who bought me this for Christmas.
Yeah, and Matt bought me a wallet.
Which he uses every day.
I do.
Look at that wallet. Look at that, man.
Although-
Bifold.
Although when I first changed over my stuff from my old wallet to my new one.
Forgot his driver's license.
Yes, I forgot to put my driver's license in. So I was driving around for about 2 weeks without my
2
driver's
weeks
license.
you didn't notice, or 2 weeks you
I
just
didn't notice.
didn't happen to put it back in?
No, I didn't notice. And then I picked up my old wallet because my stuff just sits on my desk. I'm like, I should probably throw this away. But I'll check, make sure there's not something in it. And I'm like, hey, my driver's license is in here. So, yeah, luckily I didn't get pulled over, which, I've only been... Have you ever been pulled over?
Yes, one time.
I've only
It was
been
the dumb cop's fault.
Yeah, at least in California, you're supposed to have... my truck has, like, floodlights at the top and stuff, and they're supposed to be covered by law.
As if you were like a zombie destroyer.
Yeah.
He has those lights on the roof, which don't work.
No, they don't, because, like...
Because rats bit all the wires away.
My uncle didn't drive it around, so rats laid in it.
I want to fix that. Those are awesome headlights.
I would love to have them work. Yeah, but he pulled me over, says they're supposed to be. And I'm like, I have the covers in the truck, I just didn't. He's like, okay, cover them, and you won't get in trouble. So I did.
Just then, right there on the road, did you put them on?
No, actually, I was on my way to school for tennis practice, so I drove into the parking lot, so people saw me at Center.
Center, your high school or old high school.
Yeah.
So they saw you get pulled over.
Yeah.
Badass.
So so that's it.
So you say when people walked up, like, "Hey, what that cop want?" He's like, "Nothing." I just punch him in the face.
Yeah, told him to get out of here.
Told me to get out of here. It's my school. Anyways, so today on the show, I have a couple stories I want to tell. This should be fun. Nothing. I'm not dying.
Concert you've been talking about.
Well, thanks for spoiling it, Tex.
Well, you've been talking
Yeah,
about
I've been
it.
talking about it for quite some time. Talking about the concert, and then one other story that Tex doesn't know about. And actually, there's another thing I want to bring up later on the show. It involves... I don't even want to say it because he probably knows. We'll see.
All right.
We'll add that. Make sure, Tex... it begins with an A.
That's my name?
Yeah, that's your name. Tex, A. But remind me if I forget, it begins with an A. And... Yes.
Now, this is your story. You better not forget.
And BBC. Remind me A and BBC.
Oh, okay.
What?
I don't know. When I hear BBC, I'm like, oh.
I think quality world news. That's where I get my world news from.
I think crappy humor. I don't know. Just
BBC
is a turnoff for me. If I say something, I love Sherlock. They made Sherlock.
There's some humor there. That's a humorous show.
Okay,
that's a classic British kind of dry humor.
I'm not sure where my stereotype of British humor came from. Like I've seen British comedians that are funny. It's probably from watching the British version of The Office, which I didn't find funny.
Yeah.
Although it was literally the first episode of the American Office too, so I don't know why I didn't find it funny. And then I've got one story to tell you that I'm pretty late on, but just a story that's been going around the internet. Everyone's been buzzing about it, so we'll talk about that.
Not too late, but it's
12 days too late.
But it's very fun. It's very interesting and amusing.
Yes.
Anyways, what else do I want to say? I got new music. I got some old music. I have some music that I listened to recently and brought me back to the past, and I have a song that Tex currently really enjoys.
How do you say that?
What?
Say that. Nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, is it?
Oh, no, because you said ja. It's nostalgia.
Yeah,
I say nostalgia.
It's nostalgia.
That's what I say.
I stay nostalgic. I stay nostalgic.
You stay nostalgic.
All right.
Well, because when you go nostalgic, it's G. Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Nostalgia. I don't know. And then we're going to do, of course, our Star Wars quiz after our commercial break.
Always do the Star Wars quiz.
What do we at? Points-wise, Tex?
We're both tied. We both have 7 out of 12.
We brought it back. So, last time I was down by 1?
No, you were ahead by 2.
You were up by 1. I had something.
You were ahead by 2, and
we
I tied
were back to even.
I think.
It's a good beginning to the semester and our challenge of Star Wars nerdness.
Your questions are, I'd say, actually medium. No really easy ones.
You got a really easy one. Maybe two really. Well, to me, the second one is from the most recent episode I watched, so I know it.
Fresh in your mind.
And the third one there is gettable. So I think you could very easily get all 3 right.
All right.
Anyways, we're gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna play the song, but I might as well tell you what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
What's it about? Friday went to a concert, Fantogram.
Fantagram.
Was in
Sacramento.
Ace of Spades, nice smallish venue. Got there 6 p.m., stood in line, expecting the doors open at 7. Doors didn't open until 8, so I was standing out there for 2 hours. Got in there. First band didn't play till about 9 o'clock.
What time did you get there?
6.
Ugh.
That band played. Then the main band, Fantagram, didn't get on until 10 o'clock. We didn't get out until about 11:45. One of the longer concerts I've ever been to. I had plans to go see a friend of mine who was doing a birthday party downtown as well. Fortunately, the show went too long, so I didn't see that. Her birthday is today. Happy birthday, Mariah, co-worker of mine. But the show was amazing. One of my favorite shows I've been to a while. One, because the guy that was on acid behind me didn't puke and or die while he was there, so there's that.
You've seen somebody puke on someone else at a concert, right?
One of the worst things I've ever seen, and it was awful. Trevor was there. It was just a fountain. It was awful. We can talk about that later. But no, this guy was. I was standing there, right up front. We got there early enough. We had right up front the seat, holding the guardrail. Artists were 4 feet in front of us. Guy behind us all of a sudden was just bumped into me on my left shoulder. So I turn around and look.
Wants to fight.
He wants to fight. I turn around and look. All of a sudden, he's collapsed on the floor. So then I was like, okay. So then I lean forward and try and find security guard.
Your EMT trainer? Not EMT, but what? Lifeguard training kick in?
Yes. I have first aid and CPR training.
There you go.
But I haven't been certified in 2-3 years. But so what I did was I was right in the front. There's security guards kind of along the rail. I looked and tried to find one, tried to flag one down, and say, hey, this guy's
Sunsplash lifeguard. Give me some room.
out of the way. But no, they didn't see me, and then his friends just picked him up, and he was like, I guess good to go. But he was like, whoa, and I was like, man, are you all right? I was like, you need me water or anything? And this is during the first act, in the middle of the first act, so it was a great start. He's like, no, I'm good. And then, like, later on, I could just see my peripheral, and he's just, like, touching his face and, like, swaying. And I was like, is he going to puke?
That, oh, my gosh. Or, like,
some of it was like, oh, my gosh.
Exploring his face, you know?
No, it was like, oh, my gosh, what is going on?
Oh, I see.
And then I was like, dude, are you all right? He's like, no, I'm fine. Before the show, I just took some acid.
And then you just... right at you. That would be fun.
It was, like, I would literally didn't focus on the first act because I turned a little bit left so I can see him on my peripheral. So in case any projectile vomit came my way.
Let me ask you, because I've never been to. The only concert I've been to was like when I was 3. My parents took me to see like a Sesame Street play.
Did you ever go to our concert at Center, the talent show?
Yes, I did.
When I played with Chris was on drums, Robert was playing.
Was Trevor there too?
Trevor didn't play. He might have been there, but he didn't
I saw
play.
Something with Trevor play. Yeah, I saw that too. And then I saw.
There's a concert. That was my.
I saw your brother play at our school too. So
that's true.
So
that was you had to be there. It was school.
Yeah. So okay.
You've seen some concerts,
but that and then the Sesame Street thing. But let me ask you, because you've been talking about this concert for a long time,
yep.
and it's coming up. If you did get vomited on, would you have stayed or would you have left, or what would you have done?
It depends. So I literally I picture these things in my head. I had a jacket on. It wasn't my favorite jacket. A jacket I could have thrown away.
Good. Just
I could have blocked the vomit onto this jacket,
like Batman wingspan.
And I was thinking I would just toss the jacket and then just throw it in front and get rid of it. If it happened to like puke on my legs and my pants, maybe I would. I don't know. But luckily, none of that happened.
All right. Good to have contingency plans, though.
Exactly. I thought about all the things. I was thinking, could I dodge this? Could I shove him? What could I do to avoid puking?
He just turn him around and
could I aim him at his friends who brought him here and made him do the things he did? Don't do acid. And don't go to concerts because no one else will enjoy it. You won't even remember. Like, you're going to see dragons and you're not going to see the show.
That might be the coolest concert you've ever been to.
You could do that while watching YouTube.
Acid in YouTube?
Just, don't do acid. The show is great, though. There was 2 lead singers. They were right up front. Then they had a couple other people in the back. What are you looking at, Tex?
No, just never mind. Keep going.
I know what you're talking about. But it's fine. There's 2 other guys. The girl and the guy up front. They're the main people. They are Fantagram. They play all the instruments and they usually record all the instruments, but they can only do so much. Mm-hmm. So they brought in an extra guitar player and a drummer to play on tour with them as they travel around. A couple of the shows since my brother is a drummer, works in the music industry, all that sort of stuff, I've acquired a drumstick collection. And then in doing so, I have acquired my own drumsticks from the shows I've been to. I have a drumstick collection of people like Chad Sexton from 311, famous drummer Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers. The once drummer for for Angels and Airwaves, his name's Adam something. My brother's own drumsticks. Aaron Spears, who drums for Usher.
I've seen your wall of drumsticks.
All these drumsticks, and all of them have been played by the drummer. Some of them are signed. And so what I do is I like to collect these drumsticks.
So how do you get them? Like, how'd you get all of them?
So in 311, I basically just yelled at the end of the show, "Hey, drumstick!" And everyone's all screaming and stuff like that. And I just happened to, Chad Sexton threw his drumstick, and I just happened to grab it.
Good.
So that was one.
Did anybody try to fight you for it?
No, I immediately hid it in my pants and walked out.
Okay.
This last concert, one concert before, I went to the Foals, a band I really love, and they played really well. And I wanted a drumstick from them. There was a meet and greet at one of the local record stores here before the show, and I said, hey, I showed him a picture of my drumstick collection. I was like, hey, do you mind? I would love to get a drumstick. At that time, they didn't have any drumsticks with them. He's like, come to the show, and we'll give you a drumstick. So I was like, cool, I'm going to get a drumstick. Went to the show, either they were too high or something, too busy, or they didn't give me a drumstick. The guy threw drumsticks, but they didn't happen. I did notice one other guy near the front had a sign that said drumstick ? It was like, brilliant idea. So I do the same for this concert, Fanagram. I make a little sign, drumstick ? Sharpie, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hold it up the entire show, so I do it at certain moments.
But that shows dedication.
That does. So then what I do is towards the end, every artist ever known to man has done an encore. So a band will play.
Van Gogh.
They'll say, okay, bye guys, and then be like, no, come back and play songs. So they come back always and play a couple more songs. So I knew that was happening. So I was like, I was trying to anticipate that last song before the encore.
Mm-hmm.
So I held it up. I just held it up towards the end. The two up front didn't really notice or didn't look at it, but I did see the drummer looked at it, and he pointed at me, and I pointed at him. And he's like, drumstick, and I was like, thumbs up, and then and it was on.
Yeah.
But I was like, when's this going to happen? And I was like, is he going to forget? We still got a couple more songs to play. He's going to go back in the back. He's going to come back, do his encore. Is he going to forget? So he comes back, plays it. The last song of the encore, they usually play 2 songs, and they now say this is our last song. Sorry, guys. So the last song, I held up my little sign just kind of in the front, a little low, just to make sure he remembered. And then as soon as I got off and they said goodbye, I held my sign up. Everyone else left. The drummer from behind the drums walked around the drum set, has 2 drumsticks in the hand, walks up. I'm in the very front. Everyone else is trying to get really close to him. Everyone's gathering around, getting close. The drummer's walking closer to me. He hands the 2 sticks right towards me. No one else can grab them. I grab them immediately. The crowd goes, oh, because he just gives it to me. I immediately hide it in my pants, cover it in my shirt, and go on our way.
There you go.
So now I have 2 drumsticks. I gave one to Lauren, my girlfriend, who went with me, and so now I can add that. He's not a famous drummer,
but he's a drummer.
This is the biggest gig, but it's one of my favorite bands at the time, or my current favorite band. So it was played during the concert, and it's for Fanagram, so it's going on my wall. There's my one story. So now, after all that, I'll play a song from the new album Voices, which is amazing. Every time I listen to it, I love it more and more. Most people recognize Fanagram of the girl singing, but there's also the guy that does some songs. He has a little different twist to it. I believe this song is... now I'm confused. I'm not sure if it's him singing or not. And anyways, enjoy this song. It's called Bad Dreams. This is the Matt and Tex Show, live on KSSU.com. Bad Dreams, Fantagram. New album is Voices. Get it today. One of my favorites. I'm listening to it all the time. It's on my Pandora. It's on my phone. It's on my radio show almost weekly.
And now the drumsticks will be on your wall.
And now the drumstick will be on my wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I don't even know. I love getting those drumsticks. It's fun, and they'll all be worth something maybe someday. Well, Chad Smith, one of the best drummers known to man at our current time for Red Hot Chili Peppers. I have his drumstick played, though it's going to be hard in the future to either prove that it's his or he has specific sticks for him as an artist, so it says the brand that he uses and his name is on it. Though anyone can probably buy those. But it's played. I'll ask him, hey, is this your stick? And he'll say, yeah, it's mine.
No.
But my brother got it, who was there on the tour. So, Tex has. I heard about this from one of my Geek Squad agents, and that was really interesting. Tex also saw it at the same time. We're 10, 15 days a little late from when it began, but it's been getting a lot of buzz. NPR, I think, did a little story on it. Some other people have done it.
Yeah. So I always go on like Reddit, Imgur. Those are like types of social media and things, and I've been seeing a lot about this thing called Twitch Plays Pokemon.
Twitch, by the way, if you don't know, is a way to share gameplay footage. So a lot of people will stream up live things of them playing on Xbox, PC, anything. You can either go through and just look through old videos, all that sort of stuff. There's an app on Xbox One for Twitch, but you can only at this point see videos. You can't upload videos.
Yeah, and I saw an update. They're going to fix that soon.
They should definitely fix
that. Anyway, so the whole idea is that there's so many people can watch a stream on this, and then you can chat at the side. Oh, this is cool. Hey, do this on the various videos. But the idea was to have the people watching on Twitch actually play the game for the person. So they did this as some sort of an experiment. So what they did, they got Pokemon Red, one of the first ones. And the way it works is the people watching type into the chat what they want to be done. Like, for example, if you type up, the character will move up one
give the command
increment. Yeah. And it was small for a while, and then just nobody really expected it to explode the way it did. And so now, I mean, I've gone on there multiple times. I've played it myself. Is that you have about 60,000 people watching? Like is about average 50 to 60,000 people. And from what I've read, they estimate about 10% of people actually participate. So that's what, like 500 people, I think. I'm terrible at math. Let's assume it's like 500.
If it's 60,000,
yeah,
and 10% of those, you're simply going to take away 1 0. You're at 6,000 people participating at once.
Like I said, I'm terrible.
One thing is what one of my Geek Squad coworkers was telling me was that it can't accept all those commands. So what it does is it has a priority, and it does, I don't know, he told me like a percentage or something, but it so if you, on the side you can see all the scroll list of all the commands that people are trying to put in or are actually being put. Tex said he couldn't see his.
Yeah, there's a chat bar for Twitch, and then on the screen itself you can see the little game, and you see the commands that are being put in.
And it only does so many of those commands. Though all those commands are reading input, the game can only process.
Well, yeah, they had to slow it down, and it's pretty laggy, just so they can take in all of these commands. But eventually, like the guy who started it, and I don't know his name, that he started it. He started making a couple modifications to it. Like when you type it in, everyone's command goes in, and you'll see which ones are going to get processed next: up, down, left, right, start. And so it just makes for hilarious gameplay. But eventually, he added a mode called Democracy Mode.
That's true, huh?
Where before it was Anarchy Mode, where literally every input, even though it might take like a couple minutes for your input to get in there, would be processed, and you could run around in circles, press start, and all that stuff. And so that's Anarchy Mode. But he added a thing called Democracy Mode, where it would take the top vote every 20 seconds. So like if up got voted 200 times but down got voted 100 times, it would take the up command, and it would do that every 20 seconds. But in order to get to that mode, because by default it was on Anarchy Mode, people have to type in democracy or anarchy, and it has a little progress bar showing like how many votes, and it goes up according to what gets voted more. Most people choose Anarchy Mode, and I finally got to see Democracy Mode once, and it goes slower. But once it's there, it takes a certain number of votes to get back to Anarchy Mode. And watching this, it's weird to watch this game because you just see the character running around in circles.
It's very strange. Like,
yes,
on the short term, the guy is doing nothing. But on the long term, if you were to somehow like speed up the video or like a time lapse of what's going on, progress is being made.
Yeah.
I don't know what there are certain things that you can capture. Like there's 8 certain things in the game you can get.
The badges.
They're already at 5.
Yeah,
they got 5 badges.
They are making progress.
How difficult is it to get a badge? I'm not sure what the.
You just have to have Pokemon at a certain level and be able to beat the.
So they've gotten, which to me was quite impressive as a mass.
Yeah.
Maybe 6,000, 5,000 people putting in commands at once.
Yeah. Reading some reviews about it say that this is like proof or help with the typewriter monkey theory or whatever. You know, like if
if you had an infinite amount of monkeys and an infinite amount of typewriters, they could all eventually write Shakespeare.
Yeah, eventually write Shakespeare just by the chaos.
That's very
shows
interesting.
That in the short term, it is this guy just running around and being dumb. The start menu pops up like every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But but progress has been made. Significant progress has been made, and so many people are just making memes and jokes about this thing. Like in the game, you get this thing called a Helix fossil, which you can later in the game use to revive an extinct Pokemon from archaeology. And people were joking like, "Oh, this is a deity, this is God," whatever. Just funny jokes. But finally, they actually brought the Pokemon back, and it's actually had some funny effects. Like if you're not familiar with Pokemon, you just start at the beginning and you get 3 starters, either a water, a fire, or a grass type, and those are the only ones of that you can get in that game. They chose Charmander, the fire type, at the beginning, and like 5 days in, they released him.
They released a lot of the Pokemon.
Yes,
that's what I've seen.
So they no longer have like one of the only Pokemon you can get into the game because they let them go. But they have. Which is funny because you have to battle other Pokemon and other trainers in order to get higher up in this game. And since it's just chaos, you can get... the way you find them is you walk around in grass or something like that. So since this guy walks around in circles so much, they've gone through a lot of battles. And they have a Pidgeot, I think, at this point, which is like a bird Pokemon. That's like level 50 when they're fighting like level 20 Pokemon. So they have a really strong Pokemon.
It's very funny. It's something you wouldn't want. Maybe some people are watching it for hours, but it's something you just take a look at and see like, wow, this is chaos. I think it's very interesting, and I think a lot more games will happen like that.
Yeah, a lot of people other people are starting, and whether they'll take off, I don't know, because it's. So I've heard some have done Street Fighter, some are trying to do the original Legend of Zelda.
I honestly wouldn't mind. It's Street Fighter would be weird because, I mean, the guys are standing there fighting something. It's one of those... I like the idea of the Pokemon because it is an open kind of world. Your guy does things like that. I think something would be interesting would perhaps be Minecraft, where there's only a certain number of commands. The guy's moving on an open thing. Maybe put it on... No, I think... See, that'd
be hard. I think it would die too much.
I was thinking it depends on what level you're on. If it's on survival mode or...
Yeah, but... that maybe they can do that and just see exactly what happens, because
these are all experiments.
I'm just wondering, the people making the decisions, there are a lot of jokesters on there that are just trying to screw with everyone. Like if you just type in start, the start menu pops up and it stops the game for a couple seconds. But most of the people have played. I mean, Pokemon's an incredibly popular game, and Red was the original. There have been remakes and stuff, so people know what needs to be done at a certain point. So those ones are the ones I'm assuming are in control mostly, or at least the majority of them are typing in the command. Like, for example, we need to walk up this path. Everyone can see, okay, let's type in up. But some jerks, of course, type in down to screw with people. But you actually see progress being made through the game, which is absolutely incredible. You should definitely check this out. Just go type into Google Twitch plays Pokemon. You'll come to the stream.
You may even just go to Twitch, and if they have, they link it by like most viewed or current highest views?
I'm sure they
probably find it on top.
Yeah, because it's definitely one of the most popular things. It's in its 12th. I checked it this morning. It's in its 12th day of gameplay, and by day I mean 24 hours. So 12 24-hour periods.
The guy, the owner of the computer, or what? He'd probably run an emulator or something on his computer, or what?
Yeah, I'm not exactly
he's
sure.
just having that running all day.
But he says like people want him to like release like how he did it and stuff, and he says he literally kind of just slammed this together. There's no elegancy to what he did. It's just this crude thing.
But it's fascinating how his computer has not, like, all these commands can be put in, and it's not bogging it down. It's just interesting to see how he threw this together, but it's running quite smoothly for what it's meant for.
Actually, from what I've read, that the bog downs are on Twitch's part sometimes, because the chat function on not the game itself but Twitch,
that's true,
has been bogged down a lot. So they've sometimes put it to separate servers at like peak hours. So like they've had to adjust the way they approach their website because of this
one game video. All right, so very interesting. We'll come back to that and see what the progress is, how long it lasts, or if there's any newer games that come out that are as interesting and somewhat entertaining. Last week, for some reason, I decided to download an album that I listened to. My girlfriend and I were talking about our first albums we ever had. I don't know what yours was, Tex, but mine was, I didn't buy it. My brother actually handed it down to me. It was Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray's album 1459. I can always remember I still have it at home. I can always remember the album artwork as a dog standing on a diving board looking down on a pool. And I would listen to that thing all the time on my CD player, and then later on my first MP3 player. And it's not the world's greatest album, but for some reason I really, really enjoy it. And I went back to it, and there's a lot of songs I don't remember like word for word what the songs were, but I just kind of remember
You just got
the ideas.
I know
So exactly. So I'm going to play one of those songs for you. This song is called Personal Space Invader. It's off the album 14 to 59, which is a time 14:59.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come back. We'll go to commercial right after this, and we'll come back and do our Star Wars quiz. We talked a lot already. It's Matt and Tex Show. This is Personal Space Invader. A familiar sound, that's John Williams and the London Symphony Orchestra. Nailed it! Yeah! Got it. It's our Star Wars quiz time, but before I do so, I want to just kind of looked up some interesting facts about John Williams. Not too much, like too hidden and obscure, but I just kind of want to go through and see. He has won many of Oscars and he's been nominated for and many more.
Doesn't he hold the record? I thought
of individual nominations, but not individual wins.
Yeah,
I think
nominations.
He has quite a bit. Some of the interesting ones that he didn't win for, he's only been nominated. He's only won an Oscar for one of the Star Warses, Episode 4. He's been nominated for all the rest. He won for Jaws, won for E.T., and he won for Schindler's List.
I think I liked E.T. as a kid, but now, even though I haven't seen it again, I don't want to watch it for some strange reason.
It's I don't know. Anyways, and then Schindler's List, which according to IMDb was his last Oscar win in 1994.
Maybe he'll be coming back with Star Wars again.
So, interesting fact. He also did the soundtrack for Towering Inferno, probably his earliest, more famous films. A film you probably don't know, but my mom does.
I have no idea.
1974. 1 year later, he did Jaws. 1990, he did a film called Home Alone. He did the Home Alone soundtrack.
Home Alone?
Yeah. Wow. Supposedly, he's working on Episode 7 of Star Wars in 2015.
Yes.
Also, according to IMDb, it's in pre-production, but he will be doing the soundtrack for Jurassic World.
Oh, really?
In 2015.
Okay.
Also on IMDb, he's working on, though it has been delayed, if not canceled, if they're working on a new Indiana Jones. He's done all the Indiana Joneses, and he would do the newest one if they ever make it.
I hope so.
You hope they make it?
Well, no, I hope he does it if they do.
Right. Okay. So yes, there's some interesting facts for John Williams. Still,
He also did a song for the Olympics too.
He's done a bunch of minor songs. He's done intros for like
I think he did one for DreamWorks, that guitar intro. I think
he's done like the nightly news with John Williams.
Nightly news with John Williams. Scored
What's his
by
name?
John Williams.
There's an ABC program, NBC Nightly News with some
Brian Williams.
Brian Williams. There you go, a fellow Williams. He did the intro for that, I think, once or something. He's done a lot. He's even done acting in the very early past.
Really?
So there's John Williams, and we got to play in the background now. The song is from, I'm not sure what episode. We can assume episode 6, the Battle of Endor, the Battle of Endor 1 medley. We are currently tied on the Star Wars quiz. We're going to jump right into it. Tex always says, "Oh, I went first last time. Matt, you go first." I'm going to have you go first this time. Because I went first last time.
Did you?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't remember this stuff. All right, okay. Your first question is from episode 3, and I can give you a hint if you need it on this one, but let's see if you don't. Episode 3. Which Wookiee was the leader of the city Karchirho on Kashyyyk? That's the, this is episode 3, so that's the battle that took place.
Which I just recently watched.
Oh, yes, you did. Oh, okay. So
I saw there was Chewbacca and then another, maybe a slightly taller, grayer Wookiee.
So the answers are Chewbacca, Tarful, Guntana, and Lachinchuk. Sorry, that one's hard.
There's only 3 options?
No, I gave you 3. Chewbacca, Tarful, Guanta, and Lachinchuk.
What was B?
Tarful.
Tarfor. Sounds familiar.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
Yes. Bing, bing!
Remember, the other hint I could have given you was that when they take Yoda away and take him to his little dropship, and he says, "Goodbye, Chewbacca, goodbye, Tarful."
Yes, that's exactly one of the last scenes of the film.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting is the fact that, there's Chewbacca knows Yoda. In the original trilogy, they never come in contact, right? Because Yoda's always on. Yeah. So that's an interesting fact, and I wonder. I don't know. It's so interesting that it was never either brought up, either between Chewbacca, Han to Luke. Did Luke understand Chewbacca? Did they talk? I don't know. It's just interesting how they all connect, and they'll connect even more in 7, 8, 9, whatever, however far they go in. All right, so I got 1 point. Episode 5 is the question for you. What did hibernation sickness do to Han Solo?
What did hibernation sickness do to Han Solo?
He is dropped from carbon freezing by Leia. Something happens. There's a couple things there, but if in the long run you know more. So I'll give you the options. A, he couldn't see. B, he was emaciated. Don't know what that even means. I was going to Google it, but I don't care to. C, he couldn't walk. Or D, he was dehydrated.
He was blind.
Correct. He could have been all three of those: dehydrated, walk, or sleep. See, right in the beginning when he falls, but later on he actually walks. They're walking him on that thing above the
Sarlacc
pit, Sarlacc pit. Yeah.
All right.
So Tex is up 1 as well. We're still tied. Bring it, Tex.
Okay. Your next question's from episode 5.
Boom.
Who said, "Then I'll see you in hell," after receiving a stern warning from a concerned rebel officer? Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Princess Leia?
I'm thinking it wasn't Obi-Wan. I don't believe it was Luke. It sounds something Han would say, but then I can see Leia saying it in a sassy form. Oh, man. I'll see you in hell. Then I'll see you in hell. I'm going to go with Han.
Okay, that's right.
Yes.
Remember, he's like, "You can't go out there. Your tauntaun will freeze. Then I'll see you in hell." And he writes it.
He didn't say it like that.
He did.
Then I'll see you in hell.
That's exactly how he said it, actually.
Okay.
Yes, that's how I memorize these things, is by how he said it. I mean,
Okay.
I might have not done a good impression, but I was playing it in my head. All right.
Episode 3 is this question. Who said, "Chancellor Palpatine, Sith Lords are our specialty"? I can see the exact moment.
Okay.
A, Anakin Skywalker. B, Mace Windu. C, Yoda. Or D, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan.
Correct. They're out there. They're right in the beginning of the 3rd episode. They're sitting. Chancellor Palpatine's in captivity with Count Dooku. And they said, "You can't defeat him. He's a Sith Lord." And Obi-Wan says,
Chancellor Palpatine, Sith Lords are our specialty. Yes, I
That's
remember
very
that.
fun. Speciality.
Exactly.
He says it like that too.
Specialty. Yes. Okay.
All right, Texas. There we go.
Last question for you. Okay. We've had one similar to this, but this is different.
Cool.
What does AT-AT stand for? Before I asked you, what does ATTE
ATTE, that's right.
stand for? So this one's, what does AT-AT stand for?
AT-AT and the AT-AT, to confirm, is the 4-legged walking one on
Hoth. Yes, this is from episode 5. So this is the Hoth one. I'm just going to give you the last part.
There's the AT-ST, which is the 2-foot walker, chicken
Yes.
walker, in episode 6.
And
AT-AT is the largest one
Yes.
of the fleet.
And I'm just going to give you the last two because they all start with all-terrain.
Okay.
So, armored transport, assault titan, assault tank, or armored tyrant?
Armored transport sounds right.
All right, that's correct.
All right, last question for you. This one's from episode 2. What plans did Count Dooku take with him before he fled to his secret hangar? A, the Confederacy of Independence, which is kind of a fake document thing. B, the plans for super battle droids. C, the plans for the ultimate weapon. Or D, the blueprints for Star Destroyers.
C, the ultimate weapon.
Plans for the ultimate weapon, correct. The
Which
ultimate
would
weapon D,
ultimately be the Death
the
Star.
Death Star.
All right, but we all got our...
We all got them right. We're still
So
tied.
it's still tied.
Those were somewhat difficult, but we both got it. Congratulations.
10 out of 15 now is the current standing for both of us.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Unless I did my math wrong.
I'm going to play... actually, the one thing I want to bring up, just an interesting fact that I read, and I didn't read the entire article, though I read a bit of it. The Pentagon...
Is this the thing that starts with an I?
Yes.
Okay.
The Pentagon is reportedly going to shrink the Army to the size of pre-World War II conditions.
I read about this.
So they're at like 575,000 troops. They're going to drop it to more about 450 to 475,000 troops, which is...
I was surprised we had that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought
And that's just
World War
Army.
I-
That is just Army troops, not Marines, not Navy, not Air Force. That is soldiers.
You could, I read the article you're talking about, but I don't know if it differentiated between types of troops because I remember I don't know what percentage are actual fighting soldiers because there are a lot of other
Yep.
mechanics, engineers, dentists, doctors, things like that in the Army too. So I'm
Reserve,
assuming
yeah.
I'm assuming the majority of the cuts would be in the infantry type actual fighting things, considering we don't really need to fight anymore considering that the war in Afghanistan and Iraq are over.
Or they're close to. Iraq's over, or Afghanistan's
Yeah, we're still
rolling
in
out. So just an interesting fact. Still quite a bit of troops. We still have like 10 times. We still put more money into our military and defense than the next 10 countries combined. One fact I found interesting was it goes the United States, it goes Russia, but then it goes Russia, China.
In terms of what?
Money put into it.
Percentage of GDP?
Not. I don't. It just said bill. I think dollar.
Oh, okay. So just amount.
Yes. So it was U.S., Russia, China, and then it went. God, I'm upset that I forget because
South Korea, Israel, France, England.
Which one
India?
was it? No, it wasn't.
I'm just trying to.
The UK was the next one. There's one between it. It just. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, which is interesting because I currently have no idea that there's any Saudis in any sort of conflict or war, but the fact that they have such a large, they put so much in defense is interesting.
I've never even considered the Saudi military.
Exactly. So it's interesting. They're ranked the fourth highest spenders in personal defense like
That's
that.
a lot because you don't hear about them doing anything with their military, but everyone spends some sort of money. There are like 24 quote-unquote countries or states that don't have armies. Puerto Rico's one of them. So is the Vatican.
So is the Vatican. Yes, that makes sense.
And Guam, I think. We're responsible for Puerto Rico.
Both Guam and Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah, so one fact that I looked,
Okay.
they're sizing down the Army, but I remember looking up the Marine Corps that says that the Marine Corps has more soldiers than the entire Israeli Defense Force has.
Wow.
Just the Marine Corps.
And which is interesting because everyone at the age of 18, male and female, has to enroll into the
yes,
Israeli
2-year service
military. So that they can't even. It's a very tiny state, but they still do not
need the
outnumber
soldiers.
our entire military or Marine force.
They don't. I mean, it's amazing to hear how many countries are like. We compare it to California because we're in here, but California is the most populous state in the United States, and it's bigger than so many other countries with more population. And to think that there are 49 other states to consider, and we still have just dwarf them.
Then, of course, there's the idea of splitting California into 6 states. I don't know if you've read that.
I've heard about this.
Always been a big debate. We won't maybe not talk about it too much now. Maybe in the future if
Never
the petition's going around. Never gonna happen. If not 6, if anything, maybe 2, 3, if at all possible. But of course, Congress must decide.
I just don't.
I see no reason to, and I don't really want to. I like the unification. I don't think we're too big to govern. I think there's a lot of good that comes from the San Francisco area, from the Southern California area, from our area, the Central Valley. Though an interesting fact would be if we do split our state into 6, if we do create a Central Valley state, the Central Valley would be the lowest income per capita of any state in the U.S.
I've seen what a 51-star U.S. flag would look
I know.
like.
Let's think about a
55. It'd be 55. We get 6 states, but
we get 6, but one already
5
one
additional.
kind of okay. Yeah,
so
55.
I've seen some weird design. I want them to keep the general
Symmetry.
stars in a line. Yeah, that symmetry. It's got to be along those lines.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion.
You should design
And
it.
I think, I don't know this for sure, but from like past, I think the president is the one who approves the flag design if there's going to be a new one.
That is interesting, yeah, because we haven't had a new flag since 46, 5s. I don't know.
Is that when we got Hawaii?
I think it was 40, maybe 8. I don't know. One of them.
Yeah,
it was.
because Hawaii was a territory during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Not a state yet, I think.
I believe so. Far. You're the history major.
I know, that's what I was going to say. Well, I know that, just I'm always unsure of myself. But yeah, yes, Hawaii was not a state during World War.
As well as shrinking down the Army force, they're retiring some Cold War era planes, jets, fighter jets, and some older.
Yes, I've been seeing. I haven't read too much into this, but I've seen like titles and stuff that they're thinking about phasing out the A-10 Warthog in favor of the F-35, which is still in development and pretty broken.
Pretty broken. There's been some lot of issues and malfunctions.
I think they're just shoving too much stuff into one plane.
It's quite amazing. There was an article that said they have you don't know this one, but they have like a HAL version of a robot as well as an R2 version of a robot. The idea, so there's one that's really good defense, but there's also one that's can really take over and just destroy everything it needs to, and that's what the HAL would be. But there is a lot of computing power in those planes, maybe too much to handle.
Yeah, they're trying to make it an attack craft, a fighter, and a bomber all in one. That's just too complex. The A-10 excels at what it does because it only does one thing. It attacks. That's what it's meant for. And I think even if we got this to work well, it's going to be incredibly expensive per unit. And having
Oh, it is very expensive.
No, absolutely. Having, I think it's like over $150 million per unit at this point.
And how many? They have. They don't have that many built at this point.
Only about 100 or something.
Something, yeah.
And my argument here is that having fewer, having more inferior aircraft is better than having fewer superior aircraft. Like 50
If you would even
F-35s.
call it superior.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, 50 F-35s against 150 F-18s.
Yep.
The F-18s are going to win.
Swarm it.
I mean, the Germans had superior tanks during World War II, but we just had much more.
Many more.
And ours were
many more.
Many more. Is it many more?
We had much more. Yeah, I don't think that's right.
Many more. And
there we go. Just put 2 in there.
Panzer tanks were far too complex. They had to abandon them. Whereas the Sherman tanks, I think they were Sherman, could no, they weren't Sherman. Whatever. The tanks that we had were easily rebuilt. I've been reading up on World War II.
We are gonna play one last song. This song I played. Tex, Trevor, Michael, and I all went to Buffalo Wild Wings last week, Thursday. Yes. And on the drive there, this song played, and for the first time in a while, Tex said, "I really like that song."
Yeah, and not just normally when Matt plays a song, I'm like, that was okay, but this one I was like, hey, what is this?
And so I'm gonna play it from today. It's called "Disorganized Fun." I've had it for quite some time by Ronald Jenkins. Look him up on YouTube.
Jenkins.
Watching him play is quite fascinating. To get all these, and he does it all on like one keyboard.
Cool.
So very interesting. We'll see you next week. This is the Matt and Tex Show. One interesting thing: KYDS is officially rebroadcasting our show, though I have yet to hear it. Thursdays at 6 p.m. That is Thursday. I may have said Tuesday or Wednesday in the past. It is Thursday. I double checked the schedule. 6 p.m. KYDS here in Sacramento. 91.5.
91.
I'll be at work, but I'll make sure and try and listen. Text, put it in your calendar. Make sure you listen.
I'm gonna try.
And I'll make sure to remind you guys on Facebook, facebook.com/Matt and Tex.
Or twitter.com/Matt and Tex.
Also where I put the live recordings. If you miss the show at KYDS or here in the morning at 9 a.m., I know it's very early for most of you. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Spring break's not for like 3 or 4 weeks, so we'll talk about that then. We'll come back and we'll talk more about everything we talked about today. And we'll try and get someone to beat the other in the Star Wars quiz.
It'll be me.
Disorganized Fun, Ronald Jenkins. This will play out. Thanks for listening.